Hey guys, it's Kusi. With Blizzard announcing the beginning of midnight with a big ass timer so every last Muppet will pre-order the way too expensive golden ticket for beta testing, I had to look myself in the mirror and ask, how dumb can you be?
I don't know, Jeff.
And what can I say? About 90 euro of dumb. But technically it's only 77 euro because there's some playtime attached to it, right? Right? Anyways, since retail currently is like playing a lottery in which you already have to be pretty lucky to even be part of it, I thought why not go ahead and test out some things that are so heavily advertised as pruning, class changes or improvement. And if you like this, hit the thumbs up and let me know which class you want to see next. Also subscribe to this channel for free because over the next upcoming weeks, more of them class reviews will follow. Today, we talk about the class I potentially would like to even main next expansion. I'm talking about the Sanguine Daddy, the semi-frozen freak, the walking restraining order from your favorite graveyard. The one that puts the D in Death Knight. Death Knight.
Are you stupid or something?
I'm going over the changes as there are some really big and impactful ones made for Midnight, as well as what I, a seasoned connoisseur of almost every spec, think about it, and I'm going to fully rate this entire thing on gameplay and fun, as the numbers will absolutely change. Also a quick disclaimer in case you keep your eyes peeled for some fat crits, this beta created character is on item level 80. My item level 715 rogue is on 155. So this is not more than, let's say, 450 item level on retail right now. Now then, let's talk about the Frost DK. What did change? Well, nothing of substance. Because they just got reworked and got already dumped down a lot, which, by the way, is pretty much what you can expect from most of the specs to go through. They play pretty much the same compared to the current live version on retail. Remorseless Winter is no longer an actual button and rather just something that happens. Frost Scythe hits hard, and Fapid Decay is no longer required for AoE. So the entire Frost gameplay just revolves around Obliterate and Frost Scythe to spend runes and generate runic power, just for Frost Strike and Glacial Advance to come in and use that very same runic power to potentially proc you some more runes. Very easy to get into even as a new player, as besides the beginner-friendly gameplay, they also packed the DK-given defensives, as well as the utility that some would consider a wet dream. Now, I'm not gonna go into much detail here on the Frost specialization because, again, you can play this right now in live. So one thing to mention is the new Apex talent. It's all about Frost Worming. You gain the ability to recall that sucker to come back for round 2. Get some extra damage, some extra haste, a lot of steroids coming whenever you use the big dead lizard. However, I know why you're here. Unholy. Boy, howdy, do we need to talk about Unholy. For the longest time, this spec got lost in the sauce of either being the end-all be-all in Mythic Plus because of absolutely broken infinite scaling, or being balanced in terms of damage, but you need to have a setup not even your favorite dogstep streamer could afford. Not anymore. Instead of stacking festering wounds for some splash damage, paired with some extra annoying death and decay gameplay absolutely nobody enjoys, you now, and you might want to sit down for this one guys, raise the dead. And Unholy DK is pretty much a skinny light Oprah because everyone gets a ghoul. You get a ghoul. You get a ghoul. Oh, you already have a ghoul? Well, let's take this ghoul in the Mage Edition. Instead of stacking wound on a target and pop it on the very same target, you now instead stack a buff onto yourself, which means you are a lot more flexible with the uses of festering strikes. Just to burn those stacks using Scourge Strike to summon one ghoul per use. You heard me, but it doesn't end there. You got plenty of new tools to recycle those suckers. Let me introduce you to Putrefy. It smart casts onto your oldest lesser ghoul, so the one that would despawn first, just to blow it up to be reborn in the beauty of a frost and shadow yeeting mage. And if you think that's it now, think again baby. Your Army of the Dead is back and it's a proper badass cooler now. This thing channels all the sorrow and despair from any available flashbacks around you just to Omega summon and again, sit down for this one, actual Army of the Dead. Long gone are the days of having this weird hobbit gang of useless shits that were part of an 8-minute cooldown just to fry your opponent's PC in arena. This thing is now full in effect and boy, you will agree when I tell you it looks flipping awesome. Paired with the Riders of the Apocalypse hero talent, you are going absolutely bonkers. We finally have a Necromancer, boys. Finally. Now when it comes to your talent tree, it's pretty much split in 3 sections. The left one is all about diseases, increasing damage, duration, tick rate, all those kind of fun stuff when it comes to spreading the COVID, and some solid stat buffs just for playing. The right side consists of all the pet stuff, damage increase for both your permanent little fella, as well as your abominations, gargoyles, that for some weird reason are still part of the game, and a bunch of extra perks for your limited edition ankle biters you keep summoning non-stop. Now again, please excuse the crappy numbers and the potential lack of flow due to the super lack of gear, but this is incredibly cool. Also, with adding the new Apex talents that will pretty much empower your Death Coil and Epidemic, as well as, well, pretty much giving you even more pets, just to break it down very briefly for you here, the change to gameplay is where it matters. Similar to Frost, Unholy became very straightforward. Now, it's not like a Fury Warrior one-button zack. You still have a little bit of setup. You still want to spread your disease with Outbreak, as it automatically marks your main target with Dread, and as well as everybody else with Virulent?
Virulent.
What the hell is that word?
Extremely poisonous or injurious, producing venom.
Okay, anyways. Afterwards, you want to open with Festering Strike to give yourself a necessary stack for spawning undeads on every Scourge Strike. Then you press your Swiftly one-shot in form of Army, very important to use Army first, as well as Transformation, because now stuff is spawning all over the place and shit hits the fan. As during Army, you summon 2 ghouls per Scourge Strike instead of 1. You're also gonna offer a lot of the ghouls up for mages right away. It's crazy! So many things happen. Oh, and remember what I told you about Putrefy earlier? Yeah, the one that takes your oldest ghoul to replace it with a mage? Yeah, that's pretty much on crack now whenever you get your cooldowns running. Also because of your Apex talent, it is heavily advised to use all your cooldowns before you go into summoning mode, because you will increase the buff duration that will grant you 1 second per ghoul summoned or putrefied. To show you how utterly stupid this looks, in the best way possible, I looked for a clip online of somebody being level 90 with full-blown talents. And look at this, bro.
They get like a nice little Necromancer animation and you can just see them popping out of the ground. I haven't even used Army of the Dead yet, and I already have like, I don't even know how many of these little ghouls just ready to go. So if we pop Army of the Dead now, we get even more pets summoned in here. We get the Abomination, the 4 Horsemen, and then we can start putrefying. And when we putrefy, they're going to die and reanimate. You can see them reanimating as these ghouls in the back. And look at this. I just have a giant army of Magus of the Dead.
Is this not the creepiest petting zoo you ever seen? Needless to say, this entire spec finally fits the Necromancer role so many people wanted, though it's not a hero class like many were begging for. This is the closest thing we ever get to a class fantasy of a Necromancer, and I think Blizzard did a fantastic job here. Now moving on to the third of them Plague Brothers, let's talk about the Blood Death Knight. Blood is the middle child of this class when it comes to changes to the spec, or anything one would consider a rework. They got some things changed. But let's start. First of all, as an overall change, I think Blizzard decided to make Blood a little less squishy and try to tune down the ping pong health bar at least a little bit. Don't worry, you're still gonna get chunked and have to Blood Strike your way up, but not as insane as it was before. The reason for that is that they removed some minor defensive cooldowns like Rune Tap or Blood Tap, as well as the Bone Shield depending cooldowns like Tombstone or Bone Storm. Lichborn is also no longer defensive, as it now just removes all kinds of seduction you witness whenever you meet a ladyboy in Thailand.
That's gotta be racist, there's no way.
The major changes, however, are to the gameplay with Dancing Rune Weapon. Instead of being a reliable ongoing cooldown reduction whenever a bone sheet is consumed, DRW now has a flat cooldown of 90 seconds when using the Insatiable Blade talent. Now this could be both bad and good. It's good for whenever you don't have any way of uptime in fights that can keep proc the 5-second cooldown reduction. So it's good for being more reliable on time, if that makes sense. You can design your pulls around them, and I like that having a flat cooldown means you often can link your defensive or big pulls with the offensive cooldown of the DPS. There are a lot of DPS with 90-second cooldown winners right now, and if you have those in your party, you always know when their stuff is up too. Another bigger change are 2 specific talent nodes that got put more into a center of the tree, making them easier to access without spending an extra point just to get there. Ironheart and Bloodshot are now directly below the DRW points, and from what I've heard from a Blood DK playing friend, it's pretty sweet. But of course, Blood also got some new stuff. Replacing Bone Storm, at least on its place on the tree, we now rock Blood Mists. Now keen nerds like myself will remember Blood Mists from the Shadowlands expansion, as it very much looks like the Venti ability back then. It's also directly baked into your DRW, which some would say it's kinda mid, but it fits the theme of just slapping talents together in order to avoid button bloat. And as somebody who didn't play DK much, I like it. It looks cool, it feels awesome, and it increases parry for another 5%, while also increasing its damage over time when spending runic power. Big W! Another change of ability is that Blood Drinker got completely wrecked, while Consumption got heavily reworked. This button is now an empowered spell, much like the Evokers have it, which I think the community will be divided by. After seeing the backlash when they tried to implement this for Breathless and Dragosa for Frost DK, I can see this getting changed back if too many people don't like it. But as it stands now, you got 3 stages of carnage. where each stage increases the amount of your blood plague being consumed for extra damage, while the damage reduction can have some niche moments. Rank 1 gives 5% for 8 seconds, rank 2 10% for 40 seconds, and rank 3 15% for 2 seconds after the empowered spell lets loose, which means that during the empowerment, the damage reduction consists. From what I can tell, this looks more of an offensive cooldown than anything, but who am I to judge? And to finish you guys off, like that very same ladyboy from Thailand I mentioned earlier,
What?
all in all, I'm mega excited about this class and their upcoming changes. Frost Decay is pretty popular, so I assume it's going to stay like this, unless the tuning will be super bad. But again, I know they labeled this as a beta, but let's be honest, this is still alpha, because whenever they release the expansion, it's still in beta. Unholy now letting loose half of the fentanyl addicts from New York to chase her ass down, and Blood Decay even more so going into the spooky edgy blood theme without relying on those pesky bone shield cooldowns, so they can just press Morrowind whenever they need to instead of, well, non-stop. I'm a big fan of this rework so far, and from a fun perspective, I can highly recommend this to any of you to test out during the pre-patch coming in February. With that being said, tell me which spec you want to have covered next and why it should not be BM Hunters. Love ya, peace.